Ryan did not expect to survive the crash. His small ship had lost power above the forbidden moon of Zireth. The engines failed. The wings broke apart as he entered the atmosphere. Metal screamed. Flames wrapped around the hull. Ryan held tight to the seat and prayed. Somehow, the escape pod launched just before impact. He landed in a thick jungle, hurt but alive. His leg was bleeding. His suit was torn. He grabbed a bag of tools and limped into the forest, hoping to find shelter or signal, help. But Zireth was not an empty world. It was home to a powerful alien race who had closed their borders to all outsiders, especially humans. He walked for hours under tall black trees and glowing leaves. Strange sounds echoed in the air. In the distance, blue lights moved between the branches. He stayed low, silent, alert. Then it happened. The alien guards found him. They surrounded him without a word. Tall figures in red armor, eyes hidden behind dark glass. Their weapons glowed with energy. Ryan raised his hands, but they grabbed him, knocked him to the ground, and tied his hands with glowing cuffs. One of them spoke into a small device, human captured. A live Ryan was dragged through the forest and loaded into a silver craft. It rose into the sky and flew toward the capital city of Zireth. Through the window, Rion saw tall towers, floating bridges, and silver birds flying in circles. But no humans. Not one. The last time humans visited this world, they left after. A war no one talked about anymore. The ship landed in a quiet courtyard of black stone. A long hall stretched ahead, lined with silver statues and flickering lights. Ryan was pushed forward. His boots echoed on the cold floor. At the end of the hall stood a massive door, guarded by two tall warriors holding golden spears. The door opened. He entered the throne room of the Queen of Zireth. The ceiling was high and covered with blue lights like stars. The walls shimmered with energy. At the center stood a black throne, smooth and sharp. On it sat the queen, dressed in a long cloak of silver and green. Her face was calm but cold. Her eyes glowed like fire. She did not blink. The guards pushed Ryan to his knees. The queen looked down at him. Her voice was quiet but strong. A human. In my court. After all these years, Ryan did not answer. He knew the wrong word could mean death. She stood from her throne and stepped closer. Her steps were slow, graceful, powerful. You wear the suit of a mechanic. You carry no weapons. Why are you here? My ship crashed. I had no choice, Ryan said. Lies, one of the nobles hissed. He could be a spy, another said. He should be executed, a third added. The queen raised her hand and the room went silent. She looked at Ryan again. I lost many people in the war with your kind. Your presence is poison to this soil. My guard should burn you where you kneel. She turned to them and gave a command. Prepare him for execution. Ryan closed his eyes. This was the end. The guards stepped forward, raising their weapons. Then a sound stopped them, tiny footsteps, soft breathing. From the shadows behind Ryan, two small figures stepped out. Everyone in the room froze. The queen took a step back, her mouth slightly open. Her hands trembled. It was the royal daughters. Two young girls, one slightly older than the other. They had the same glowing eyes as the queen. Their clothes were torn. Their hair was messy, but they were alive. They ran toward the queen but stopped, beside Ryan. The younger one hugged his arm. The older one stood in front of him as if to protect him. The queen stared in silence. Then she whispered, My daughters, they were gone. We searched every corner. We thought they were lost. Ryan looked at her calmly. I found them inside a crashed ship. They were trapped. I freed them. I carried them across the forest. I gave them my food. I brought them here. The older daughter nodded. He saved us. He is good. He didn't hurt us. He kept us warm. He told us stories. The queen stepped forward slowly. She reached out and touched her daughters' faces. Her eyes were wet, but she did not cry. The guards lowered their weapons. The nobles said nothing. The queen looked at Ryan again, but now her voice was different. You risked your life to bring them back. You could have run. You could have left them. But you didn't. Why? Ryan shrugged gently. They were alone. I couldn't leave them behind. The queen stood still for a moment, then she turned to her guards. Remove his chains. The cuffs on Ryan's wrists unlocked and fell to the floor. He stood, slow and careful. The daughters stayed close to him. The queen looked around the room. This man is no enemy. He is a guest of the throne. He will not be harmed. Let it be known. The nobles looked shocked, but no one spoke against. Ryan looked at the daughters and smiled gently. They smiled back. The queen returned to her throne, but watched Ryan in silence. In one day, he had gone from a prisoner to a protector, from an outsider to someone who had changed the queen's heart, but Ryan knew this was just the beginning. The royal palace had changed before Ryan arrived. It was cold and silent. Guards stood like statues. Servants moved like shadows. The queen never smiled. The nobles whispered about power and control. But now things were different. Ever since the daughters returned, light had come back to the palace. Elna, the younger princess, followed Ryan like a shadow. She held his hand whenever she could. She asked him questions about Earth, about machines, about space. Mira, the older one, watched him from a distance but spoke with calm respect. She understood what Ryan had done for them. The queen said little, but she allowed Ryan to walk the palace freely. He was not a prisoner anymore. Still, the nobles watched him closely. Some whispered behind his back. Others warned the queen that a human in the palace was a threat. He's here to trick you, one noble said during council. He saved your daughters to gain your trust, said another. But the queen raised her hand and spoke clearly. This man returned what we thought was lost forever. I will not forget that Ryan kept quiet during these meetings. He didn't want power. He didn't want reward. All he wanted was a way home. His ship was gone. The escape pod was too damaged to fly again. His only hope was to contact a human. Relay station, but Zereth's skies were blocked by jamming towers. No signals in or out. He asked once, but the queen said the towers stayed active for safety. Still, she gave him tools and a place to stay in the lower halls. He used the time to build. He fixed broken machines, repaired lights, and restored old scanners. He worked in silence, but he listened carefully. He learned how Zereth worked. He learned what others did not speak aloud, and he noticed something strange. The daughters never spoke about how they got lost one night. Ryan sat with them in the garden. The sky above was full of bright stars. Elna sat beside him with a small fruit in her hands. Ryan, are all humans like you? She asked. He smiled. No, most are louder, maybe stronger, but we all try to help if we can. Mira looked at him. Would your people have helped us too? He nodded. If they knew you were in danger, they would have come. Humans protect their own, and we protect those who need us. Elna smiled, but Mira looked away. There was silence for a moment. Then Ryan asked, gently, how did you get lost? The queen said your ship vanished weeks ago. What happened? Mira did not answer right away. She looked at Elna, then back at Ryan. We were on a mission with our teacher, a small peace talk on a nearby moon. On the way back, our ship was hit, not by an asteroid, by a weapon. A weapon? Ryan asked. Mira nodded. Our guards were killed. The ship crashed. Our teacher hid us in a storage room before the attackers came inside. Then she sealed the door. We waited, but no one came for us. Days passed. Then you found us. Ryan's eyes narrowed. Who attacked you? Mira looked at the sky. We don't know. The Queen says no enemy has reached Zireth in years. But I remember the sound of the weapon. It was cold and sharp, like something made by machines, not people. Ryan said nothing, but he remembered something from the old war reports. Long ago, before peace came, a machine race attacked human and alien worlds. They had no faces, no words, only fire and silence. The war ended, but no one knew where those machines went. He stood and looked toward the city walls. Something was not right. The next day, the Queen invited Ryan to walk with her in the Tower Gardens. She wore a light cloak and carried no crown. It was the first time she seemed more like a mother than a ruler. I see my daughters smile again. That is because of you, she said. They are strong. They would have made it on their own, Ryan replied. The Queen shook her head. No, they were alone. Scared. You gave them hope. For that, I owe you more than words. Ryan paused before he spoke. Do you want to know what really happened to them? The Queen looked at him sharply. They were lost during a storm. Their ship crashed. That is all I was told. They were attacked, Ryan said. The Queen stopped walking. What? They said their ship was hit by a weapon, not nature, not accident. A machine weapon. Maybe something that doesn't belong here. The Queen's hands clenched. There are no enemies near Zireth. Our skies are guarded. Our borders are secure. Then someone is hiding something, Ryan said. For a long moment, the Queen said nothing. Then she turned to face him. I want you to help me look. If there is truth in their words, I will find it. But if this is some human trick... It's not, Ryan said. I just want the truth. That night, Ryan returned to the workshop. He pulled out a small piece of metal he had kept from the crash site where he found the girls. It was part of the ship's outer shell. Burned, melted, but still holding the shape of a blast. He placed it under the scanner and activated the system. The result was clear. The damage came from an unknown energy weapon. The heat pattern did not match any Zireth or human weapon type. It was cold, focused, machine-like. His heart beat faster. Some old threat had returned, and it had started with 2 missing daughters. Ryan knew the palace was not safe. Since the day he showed the metal shard to the Queen, things had changed again. She no longer spoke to him in public. She met him only in secret, inside the tower library, far from the ears of her nobles. Her face was thoughtful but tired. Her mind was full of questions. You said this metal came from their ship, she asked him one evening. Yes. It was burned by a weapon that does not belong to humans or your people, Ryan replied. The Queen stared at the glowing scan on the table. The energy mark was sharp, clean, and cold. It was not made by nature or accident. It was made by something intelligent, something dangerous. This design, she said, I saw it once, years ago, in old war records, a weapon used by machines that attacked both our worlds. The council said they were destroyed. Ryan looked at her. They weren't. At least one is still out there. The Queen nodded slowly. We must be careful. If this gets out, there will be panic. Fear spreads faster than fire. I want you to keep quiet. Keep looking. I will watch the nobles. Ryan agreed, but he could already feel the tension rising. The palace halls became colder again. Guards followed Ryan wherever he went, even though they called it protection. The nobles no longer looked at him with curiosity. They looked at him with suspicion. One noble named Varn stood in the middle of the court chamber and raised his voice during council. Why does a human walk our halls? Why does he touch our machines? He could be the one who caused the attack. Perhaps this is all a plan to break our peace. Another noble joined him. He should not be here. He is a stranger. The Queen protects him. But what does he offer in return? Ryan stood at the side of the chamber and listened. He said nothing. The Queen remained silent at first. Then she stood. This man brought my daughters home. Without him, they would be gone forever. That is what he offered in return. The nobles quieted, but their eyes still burned with doubt. Ryan left the chamber and returned to the lower halls, where old machines slept under dust. He worked through the night, fixing broken panels and studying the power lines of the palace. Slowly, he started to understand how the city ran, but more than that, he started to hear things late at night. When the palace was quiet, strange hums echoed through the stone walls. Lights flickered without reason. Security doors locked themselves. Once, while checking a power conduit, Ryan saw a dark shape moving inside a vent. It was too fast to follow. He grabbed a small sensor and placed it near the wall. The screen showed a faint signal moving through the metal. Not human, not Zereth, something else. Ryan followed the signal to an old section of the palace that had been sealed for years. The walls were cracked, the lights barely worked. A warning sign blinked above a sealed door. Danger. System locked. He connected his scanner and tried to read the system. The door resisted. Then, after a few minutes, it opened with a slow hiss. Inside was a forgotten control room. Dust covered the panels. A long, dead screen came to life as he stepped inside, and then he saw a map of the city lit up in blue. Over it moved small red dots. They were not people. They were too fast. They slipped through walls and vents. Ryan zoomed in. They were machines, small, spider-like machines moving under the city, watching, listening, waiting. He turned to leave, but the door slammed shut behind him. A noise came from the corner of the room. A small drone with 3 red lights rose into the air. It aimed something at him. Ryan grabbed a broken pipe and swung it. The drone crashed to the ground. He ran from the room before more could come. As he ran, he remembered something from the old human war files. The enemy machines had used spies. They slipped into cities. They copied voices. They studied leaders. Then they attacked. This was not over. It had only begun. Ryan rushed to the Queen's private hall. The guards tried to stop him, but Mira and Elna appeared at the doorway. They pulled him inside. The Queen stood at the center, wearing her battle robe. She was in the middle of a council meeting with her closest advisors. Her eyes locked on Ryan. "What is it?" "They're here," Ryan said. "Not humans, not your kind. The machines. They're already inside the city." He explained what he saw. The drone, the red dots, the signal in the walls, the secret room. The Queen listened without blinking. When he finished, she turned to her guards. "Send a squad to the old section. Seal every tunnel. Search every vent." Quietly. One advisor stepped forward. "This could be a trap. He could be leading us into fear. Maybe he placed the drone himself." The Queen raised her voice. "Enough. I have seen his proof. I trust him. Anyone who speaks against him now speaks against me." The room fell silent. She turned back to Ryan. "You have knowledge of human machines. We will need your help. If this is the same enemy from the war, we are not ready. Our weapons are old. Our defense systems are slow. What do you need?" Ryan took a deep breath. "I need access to the core vault, the one under the palace, the place where your people once stored human tech from the Alliance years ago. If it still works, I can use it." The Queen hesitated. "That vault has been locked. Since the treaty, no one has entered it in 20 years. If you want a chance to protect your world, you'll open it," Ryan said. She looked at him for a long time. Then she nodded. "I will unlock it, but only if you swear one thing." "What?" "You will not use it to leave us. You will not run back to your people and leave us behind." Ryan looked at Mira and Elna. They were no longer just 2 girls he had rescued. They were the future of this world. "I'm not going anywhere," he said. The door to the core vault had not been opened for 20 years. It stood at the bottom of the palace, hidden behind thick walls and 2 layers of steel gates. 4 guards with silver armor waited there, each holding a heavy weapon. When the Queen arrived, The guards stepped aside. She placed her hand on a scanner, and the wall lit up with a quiet hum. The door opened slowly. Cold air moved out like a breath that had waited a long time to escape. Ryan stepped forward first. The hallway inside was dark and wide, lined with old machines and broken lights. Dust covered the floor. The deeper he walked, the more he felt like someone was watching, but there were no people down there. Only silence. He held a small scanner in his hand. The signal from the strange machines was weaker here. That meant this place had protection. Maybe the old tech still worked. This vault was built during the last war, the Queen said behind him. Our ancestors stored human technology here. Weapons, records, tools. After peace came, we locked it. We feared it could be misused. I don't want to misuse it, Ryan said. I want to protect this city. They reached the center of the vault. A large round room opened before them. In the middle stood a tall pillar, glowing softly. Around it were sealed pods and control panels, with human writing. Ryan stepped up to one of them and placed his hand on the screen. The machine woke up. Old lights flickered on. A soft voice spoke from the console. Welcome, registered user. Access granted. Ryan smiled a little. This machine still remembered humans. He pulled out a small drive and started copying the system data. Files appeared on the screen. Maps of the palace, defense systems, energy patterns. He saw something strange. The power grid had been tapped from below. Something was stealing energy from the palace, little by little. Not enough to be noticed, but over time, it was draining the system. He followed the signal map and saw the path tunnels under the city. Deep tunnels built long ago, closed by the Queen's ancestors. But now, something had reopened them. Ryan turned to the Queen. Your city is being watched from below. The machines are not just hiding. They are building something. The Queen's face grew dark. How deep? Below the main power routes, near the center of the city. If they reach the core, they can shut down your shields. And if they do that, nothing can stop them from attacking. The Queen nodded. Then we strike first. That night, a small team gathered in the palace war room. Ryan stood beside the Queen, Mira, and a group of skilled guards. He showed them the map and marked the target location. We enter here, he said, pointing to a side tunnel. It connects to the old mining lines. That's where they've been hiding. Mira looked at the screen. Why didn't our sensors catch them? They're using shadow tech, Rion replied. It's built to avoid detection. It was rare during the last war. Very dangerous. Hard to stop unless you know it's there. Elna wanted to join the mission, but the Queen said no. She made her stay in the royal chamber with extra guards. Elna didn't argue, but she looked worried as Ryan left. The team moved quickly through the lower halls, then into the ground tunnels. Ryan led the way with a pulse light in hand. The walls were tight and damp. The deeper they went, the more signs they found. Burn marks, strange metal trails, broken panels. Then came the sound, a soft tapping from a head like metal legs on stone. The team stopped. One guard moved forward. Before he could turn back, a spider-shaped machine jumped from the shadows and struck him. The others fired at once. Sparks flew. The machine fell, but more sounds followed. They were not alone. Ryan shouted. Fall back to the side tunnel. Now! The team moved fast. As they ran, machines dropped from the ceiling and crawled from the walls. They moved with speed and purpose. Some were small, some were larger, with sharp arms and blinking lights. They reached the side tunnel and sealed the door behind them. Ryan dropped to one knee and opened a control box. He hacked the panel and linked it to the core vault's defense system. A few seconds later, electric fire ran through the wall and zapped the machines outside. Smoke filled the tunnel. Silence returned. The Queen looked at Ryan. If we had waited one more day, they would have reached our core. Ryan nodded. They're not done. This was only a scout group. The real force is still coming. We need to be ready. Back in the palace, the council gathered again. This time, they listened more carefully. Ryan stood before them with the Queen at his side. He showed them the map, the drones, and the machine parts they recovered. No one doubted. Him now, we are not just facing old enemies, Ryan said. We are facing a plan, a slow attack. They want you to fall before you even see the danger. But now we know, and we can stop it. The Queen spoke next. I once saw humans as a threat. I believed we were safer alone, but I was wrong. This human saved my daughters. Now he is saving us again. We fight together. From this day forward, he is not a stranger. He is part of our people. Some nobles bowed their heads. Others stayed silent. But no one spoke against her. Ryan walked out of the chamber and looked up at the stars through the open tower. He still didn't know how he would return home. But right now, this place needed him more, and he wasn't going to walk away. Storms moved across the skies of Zereth black clouds, swirled like smoke above the royal city. The wind carried a strange sound, low and cold, like a deep machine breath. People looked to the sky and spoke in whispers. The markets were quiet. Schools were closed. Even the nobles stayed inside their towers. Something was coming. And it was not from this world, inside the palace. The Queen stood at the edge of her war table. A map of the planet floated in the air. Red lights blinked over the outer lands. Signals had gone missing. Watch posts had stopped sending reports. Patrols had disappeared. Ryan entered the room with urgency in his steps. He wore a light armor suit, made for engineers. His hands were covered in dust and wires. It's confirmed, he said. The machines are sending their fleet. I tracked the signal to a source above the moon's dark side. There's a large ship hiding in orbit, not just a scout ship, a carrier. The Queen looked at him. How many? At least 30 crafts. Most are small but fast. They're made for cutting through cities. Their goal is to hit hard, break. Defenses? Then bring in the larger units. The council began to speak, voices rising. We must evacuate the city. Our weapons are old. We cannot fight this alone. Let the Queen and her family escape. We will hold them off as long as we can. The Queen slammed her hand on the table. Everyone went silent. We do not run. This is our home. We will not hand it to machines. She turned to Ryan. Tell me what we need to stop them. Ryan took a breath. We need to power the old defense grid, the one hidden below the city. It was made by your people and mine. Long ago. It's still there, but not active. I've been working on it. It just needs time. And help. Then you'll have both, the Queen said. Ryan returned to the lower vault with a team of skilled workers and palace guards. Mira joined him, wearing her own battle gear. She knew the tunnels well and wanted to be useful. The vault was full of light now. The old machines had come alive. Ryan gave orders quickly. Power. Cells to the core node. Connect the shield lines to the tower coils. Move fast. We don't have days. We have hours. One of the engineers looked at him with worry. These systems are old. They might not hold. Ryan gave a calm nod. Then we make them hold, while the team worked. Ryan checked the sky feed from the outer watch stations. The machines had started their descent. Ships shaped like blades cut through the clouds. They moved without sound, fast and cold. Then the first wave struck explosions, lit the outer walls of the city. Guards fired back with energy rifles, but the machine drones were strong. They cut through the stone like paper. People ran for cover. Alarm bells rang through every street. Ryan looked at Mira. They're faster than we thought. We have to bring the grid online now. Mira turned to the control panel and pressed the core switch. Do it. Ryan linked his scanner to the old system. Lights blinked. Codes ran across the screen. Then the ground shook. One by one, energy pillars rose from under the city streets. A soft blue shield wrapped around the palace like a bubble. The main towers began to glow. The old defense grid was alive. In the sky, the machine ships struck the shield. Sparks exploded in every direction, but the shield held strong. The people below watched with hope. Inside the main command chamber, the Queen watched the sky through a large screen. She could see the enemy clearly now, long black ships with red lights. They circled like birds of prey, searching for a weak spot. One of the guards turned to her. They're trying to break the lower wall. If they reach the energy station, the shield will fail. I will not let that happen, the Queen said. Send ground forces, I'll go with them. The nobles stepped back in shock. Your Highness, no. You must stay here, but the Queen was already walking toward the exit. She picked up her sword and battle armor. She looked at Elna and nodded. Take care of the palace while I'm gone. Elna ran to her and hugged her tightly. The Queen whispered something in her ear and then walked away with the guards. Ryan and Mira reached the south station just as the machines broke through the outer gate. The ground was full of smoke. Small machines crawled over the walls. Others flew above, firing. Red beams of light. Rion picked up a pulse blaster and joined the defense. He was not a soldier, but he aimed carefully. He knew where to hit. He had studied these machines in old war files. Their weak points were small, but they were there. Mira fought beside him, fast and fearless. Her sword was made of energy crystal. Every swing cut a machine in half. The Queen arrived with her squad and led a counterattack. Together, they pushed the enemy back from the station for a moment. There was silence. Then a deep sound filled the air. A large shadow moved across the sky. The machine carrier had arrived. It hovered above. The city, larger than any ship seen before. Doors opened under its belly. Something heavy began to fall. The Queen looked up. They're dropping the crushers. If they land, they'll tear through everything. Ryan checked his scanner. The main grid has one more function. But it hasn't been tested. What is it? Mira asked. An orbital pulse cannon. It was built to strike large ships. But if it fails, it could blow up half the city. The Queen turned to him. Can you fire it? Yes, Ryan said. But I need your approval. You have it. Ryan ran back to the core vault and activated the weapon. The cannon rose from the palace roof. Energy gathered at the center like a sun above. The machine carrier started to charge its own weapon. Time was running out. Ryan pressed the fire button. A beam of white energy shot into the sky. It hit the carrier's belly just as the enemy weapon came online. For a moment, everything was light. Then the sky cleared. The carrier was gone. People on the ground looked up in silence, and then they cheered. Zirith was still standing, for now. The city of Zirith held its breath. After the great battle in the skies, the people waited for what would come next. The machine carrier was destroyed, but the enemy was not finished. Small ships and drones still flew low, attacking the cities, walls, and cutting power lines. The shield above flickered with every strike. Ryan stood on the command deck inside the palace. The room buzzed with energy from the ancient defense systems. He studied the screens carefully. Numbers and maps covered every surface. The pressure was heavy on his shoulders. Mira joined him, her face serious. The machines are not stopping, she said. They want to break the final wall. If they reach the city core, they will shut down the shield for good. The Queen entered the room, wearing her battle armor. Her eyes were steady and strong. Then we must hold them here, she said. No matter the cost, Ryan nodded. I have an idea, but it is risky. He pulled up a map of the underground tunnels. The enemy has many drones in the tunnels beneath the city. If we can trap them inside and close the exits, we can cut their supply. But it will take time and precision. The Queen looked at him. You will lead the team? I will, Ryan said. Then you will have my soldiers and Mira's help. The team prepared quickly. Ryan checked his gear. Pulse rifle, grenades, Scanners. The queen gave a nod of approval. Remember, this is not just about fighting, it is about saving the city and my daughters. Elna stood by the command center door. She looked at Ryan with hope. Be careful, she said softly. Ryan smiled. I will. The tunnels were cold and dark. Ryan led the group through narrow corridors and old mining shafts. The walls were damp, and strange sounds echoed around them. They moved slowly to avoid alerting the machines. Suddenly, the scanners beeped. They are close, Ryan said. Get ready, machines appeared from the shadows. Small spider-like drones with sharp legs and glowing eyes. The battle began. Ryan fired his pulse rifle. Sparks flew as beams hit the machines. Mira swung her energy, sword cutting through metal limbs. The queen fought fiercely with her blade, moving like a storm. They pushed deeper into the tunnels, closing exits as they went. Ryan hacked control panels to seal heavy gates behind them. The machines tried to break through but could not pass the barriers. After hours of fighting, the team reached the city core room. It was the heart of Zireth's power, a large chamber filled with glowing crystals and energy conduits. The shield controls were here, but the machines had reached it first. Drones swarmed the area, trying to disable the systems. Ryan looked around. We need to protect the core at all costs. If they shut this down, the city will fall, the queen took command. Form a circle. Defend the crystals. The team fought with everything they had. Ryan fired grenades that exploded in flashes of light. Mira blocked attacks and protected her allies. The queen moved with grace and strength, cutting down machines with precise strikes. The fight was long and hard. Many machines fell, but more kept coming. Ryan felt his strength fading, but he refused to stop. He saw the queen wounded, but still standing. Mira's face was covered in sweat, but full of determination. Then the ground shook. A loud roar filled the tunnels. A massive machine appeared, a giant crawler with armored plates and heavy weapons. It moved forward, crushing everything. In its path, Ryan's team tried to stop it, but their weapons barely scratched its armor. The queen shouted, "We need to work together. Aim for the joints and weak points." Ryan remembered the old human tech manuals. The joints, the places where armor meets. That's the weak spot. He aimed carefully and fired his pulse rifle at the crawler's leg. Sparks flew. The machine staggered. Mira ran forward with her sword. She struck at the exposed joint, slicing through metal cables. The crawler roared in pain and tried to swing its arm, but the queen blocked it with her blade. The machine fell to one knee. Ryan saw the chance. He charged the energy cannon attached to his suit and fired at the crawler's head. The machine exploded in a shower of sparks and smoke. The team cheered, but the battle was not over. With the crawler destroyed, the machines slowed their attack. Ryan and the queen activated the city's core systems. The shield above glowed brighter and stronger. The remaining drones fled into the tunnels and disappeared. The queen turned to Ryan. "You saved my daughters. You saved my city. You fought like one of us." Ryan smiled, tired but happy. "I fought because it was the right thing to do, because I believed in you and your people." Mira stepped forward. "We owe you our lives. You are no longer a stranger here." Elna ran into the room and hugged her mother and Ryan. "Thank you for coming back to us." The queen placed her hand on Ryan's shoulder. "You are part of our family now. Stay with us. Help us rebuild." Ryan looked at the stars visible through the chamber window. He thought of Earth, of home. But here he had found a new place, new friends, a new purpose. He nodded. "I will stay. I will protect this world." The queen smiled warmly. "Then let this be the start of a new alliance, humans and Zireth together." The battle was over, but the city of Zireth was changed forever. The scars of war were clear. Buildings were damaged. Streets were cracked. The people were tired but hopeful. The queen walked through her city, her daughters beside her. Elna held, her mother's hand tightly. Mira looked at the people with a new strength. Ryan walked with them, no longer a stranger. The people who once doubted him now smiled and nodded as he passed. He had become a hero, not because he was a human, but because he had shown courage and kindness. In the palace, the queen held a great meeting with the council and the citizens. She spoke of peace, trust, and rebuilding. She praised Ryan for his bravery and wisdom. She announced a new alliance between humans and Zireth. "We are stronger together," she said. "We will share knowledge, defend each other, and build a better future." Ryan stood quietly. The words felt good, but he still missed his home, his family. He wondered if he would ever see Earth again one evening. As the stars shone bright, Mira came to him. "You saved us all," she said softly. "You gave us hope when we had none. We want you to stay, not as a guest, but as family." Elna smiled and added, "We can teach you about Zireth, and you can teach us about your world." Ryan smiled back. "I would like that very much." The queen called them together. "From now on, you will be my advisor. You will help us prepare for any future threats, and you will help us understand humans better." Ryan bowed his head. "I will do my best." Days passed, and peace slowly returned. Ryan helped rebuild the city's defenses and improve the technology. He worked with the scientists and engineers. He taught the children about Earth's stars and machines in return. The princesses showed him the secrets of Zireth's history and magic. They shared stories of their people's past and their hopes for the future. One morning, Ryan stood on a high balcony looking at the horizon. The twin suns rose, painting the sky with orange and pink. He felt calm and strong. He was far from home, but he had found a new place where he belonged. The queen joined him. She smiled warmly. "You saved my daughters, my people, and my world. You are part of us now." Ryan nodded. "I never thought I would find a new home here, but I have, and I will protect it as I would my own." The queen looked at him with pride. "Then let us build a future where no one fears the stars, where all can live in peace and friendship." Ryan looked up at the sky. The stars seemed brighter than before. A new journey was beginning, not just for him, but for all who called this place home. And so, the story of a human and an alien queen's daughters became a legend. A story of hope, courage, and the strength found when different worlds come together.